Let's roll here. You will see the 4 new facts I put up on the board deal with what type of angles? Complementary and supplementary. Yes, yes. But if you understand the complementary ones, you just substitute in the word supplements and you'll be good to go. But we got to understand the complementary ones first. So that brings me to our first proof of the day here. Look at those givens. 1 and x are complementary, 2 and x are complementary, and I know most of you right off the bat, oh, I got this one. 1 and 2 are complementary. No. By substitution. No. Stop. Just stop right now. All right, stop. Here you go. If you ever end up using substitution, it is only for congruent or equals. It's not for complementary. It's not for supplementary. For example, 2 and 3 are congruent. 3 and 4 are congruent. Everyone agrees now 2 and 4 are congruent. That's substitution. That is substitution. Not, ready? 1 is complementary to 2. 2 is complementary to 3. Oh, I got this. I got this. 1 is complementary to 3. No. 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 That's not substitution. Substitution can only be used for equal or congruent quantities. Are we all clear about that? All right, so if they're not complementary, there's still got to be some relation between them, which gets us to our first theorem up here. 1 and x are complementary. All right, I got that. You don't have to write this in. Help me out, though. 1's 30 degrees. What's angle x then? Oh, they add the 90. That's what complementary means. Second given. 2 and x are complementary. Well, we already have 60 there. So what's angle 2? 30. So then are 1 and 2 complementary? No. No, that's why substitution doesn't work here. 1 and 2 are what, though? Congruent. And that's our first angle theorem, which says if you have 2 angles that are complementary to the same angle, those angles are congruent. All right? Complements of the same angle are congruent. Okay, that's our first fact for today. All right, please don't fall in the trap and say they're complementary. No, those 2 angles are congruent. All right, so step 2. Does everyone see what I'm talking about? I'm looking to prove 1 and 2 congruent. And what do I know about 1 and 2? They're both complementary to which angle? X, which is the same angle. All right, so if they're complementary to the same angle, they must be congruent to each other, not complementary to each other, congruent. Whoa, 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 wait a second. I don't know if I was allowed to put that yet. If I'm going to use a fact that involves complementary angles, you need to put in your statement's reasons that complementary angles exist. Did I do that yet? Did I write in my proof yet that complementary angles exist? Oh boy. Guys, look, don't look at me. Look at your proof. Have I wrote down that complementary angles exist? Where are they? In the givens. Okay. I just want to, because sometimes they may not be there and you're in charge of that. All right, but you have to have complementary angles exist before you use any of these 2 theorems. So what's the theorem I'm going to use? Complements. How many of you just put I in the word complements? Have some self-respect. Complements of the same angle are congruent. So we okay on how that one works? They have to be complementary. First of all, you got to know they're complementary. Second, they got to be complementary to the same angle. We all good? Okay, now here's the big thing for today. How is this different from the next one, which says complements of congruent angles are congruent? Ready? Here you go. Here, just focus in. Here's my little explanation. What do you know about angles 1 and 2? Complementary, because they form a what? Perfect. Perfect. What do you know about 3 and 4? Complementary, because they form a right angle. We're all on the same page. Beautiful. Do I know that 1, 2, 3, and 4 are congruent at all? No, because I didn't put the arc mark, so we don't assume squat in here. All right? All right, but you do know that they're complementary. 1 and 2 complementary, 3 and 4. We're all good. All right, let me add this little detail now. Now you know 1 and 3 are congruent. Can you come up with any other conclusion now that maybe is not marked on my diagram, but you know is true? Okay, you know is true because you know your geometry facts. All right, so we know they're right angles. We know the pairs are complementary. I know 1 and 3 are congruent. Anything else you can pull out of my diagram up there? Anything else up here we can pull out? CC, what can you pull out? Everyone agree there? 2 and 4 are congruent. Agree? We just don't know why. We could probably explain it in like a big paragraph, but I don't have time for that. All right, so why are 2 and 4 congruent? Ready? Ready? 2 and 4. Ready? 2 was complementary to what? 1. 4 was complementary to what? Are 1 and 3 the same angle? No, what? Whoa! They're the exact same angle? Oh, watch your mouth here. 2 is complementary to what? 1. This angle. 4 is complementary to what? Are they complementary to different angles or the same angle? Different. Same measure, yes, but different angles. Everyone agrees. Do you see why now that I can't use this one we just used on the last proof? Complements of the same angle, because they're complementary to different angles, but what do you know about those different angles? They are congruent. See the difference? Complements of the same angle versus complements of congruent angles. All right, one last time. What's 2 complementary to? What's 4 complementary to? Are they complementary to the exact same angle or congruent angles? Okay, so see the difference between the 2 theorems today. All right, so let's get back to number 2 now. I'll let you mark. The givens are already in there. You're welcome. Thank me later. You can go ahead and mark your givens on your diagram now. You got perpendicular lines and you got a pair of congruent angles. So go ahead and take a second, mark your diagram. All right. So we got the right angles and the arc marks on there, right? Okay. Real quickly, I just want you guys to know that you have officially entered the point in the unit where a proof can be done multiple ways. I could have given you this proof over the weekend. You would have had no issue with it. Why? How could I do this proof? Forget complementary and supplementary. Forget about it. You didn't know that over the weekend. I could have done what? Subtraction. Take the right angles, say they're right angles, say they're congruent, and then subtract and substitute. Everyone agree? All right. Please know we're going to do this a certain way, but on homework, tests, quizzes, anything goes. I am never, ever going to force you to do it one way over another. Okay? So if you see addition or subtraction tonight and you rather do it that way than use complementary or supplementary, go for it. Go for it. Okay? But I want to use the new facts, so let's don't put this in your diagram. It's just easier for me to talk to you just using numbers instead of 3 letters. What do you know about angles 1 and 2? Complementary, perfect. What do you know about 3 and 4? Complementary, and I need to get 1 and 4 congruent. So here's my question, 1 and 4. You said they were complementary to 2 and 3. Are they complementary to the same angle? No, they are complementary to congruent angles. Perfect. Complementary to congruent angles. Everyone see that? Okay. Have you established that you have complementary angles in your statement's reasons? Does it say this angle's complementary to that one? That's what I'm asking. In your proof. In your mind it does. Maybe on your diagram it does, but in your statement's reasons does it? No, so we got to put that first. That you actually have pairs of complementary angles. So we're going to say ABF is complementary to what angle? ABF and FBE are complementary. What? Hold on, before we do that though, stop. Just talk it through. Why are they complementary? What's going to go in your reasons? Why? How do you know those two angles, 1 and 2 up there, are complementary? And I don't want definition of complementary. You know why? Hey guys, that's a chair. Well, why is it a chair, Mr. Carlino? Definition of a chair. Nothing. Tells me nothing. All right, let's get specific, please. How do you know 1 and 2 are complementary in your own words? You didn't mention complementary at all. That doesn't. Complementary angles form what? Right angles. Complementary angles add to 90. What do you got for me? What? You should be, but thank you. Where were you going with the perpendicular lines? Okay, and what do you know about complementary angles? Go. I'm just asking. I'm not, because you guys got to understand. I'm not looking for anything specific. I could say complementary angles form right angles. You could say perpendicular lines form right angles, and therefore they got to be complementary. Yes. Okay. Either way, though, you're still mentioning right angles, and I still don't have what in my proof, though. I don't. Did I mention right angles in my proof? If you want to use that in your reason, it better be in your proof somewhere. So the very first thing I got to tell you is what? I have what type of angles? Not complementary, right angles. All right, because when I do complementary, somehow I'm going to write right angles, and I don't have them yet. So I'm going to say angle ABE and angle EBC are right angles. And you guys know the reason already. What reason have we been putting? Definition of perpendicular lines. Yeah, I write perpendicular lines form right angles, but I'll accept both. Okay, now you got right angles. Now you can tell me what? What other type of angles do you have now? Complementary. Don't use 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Actually name them. So angle, give me a pair of complementary angles up here. Let's hear 29. Pair of complementary angles. A, B, F, and F, B, E are complementary. Ugh. Should go right back to the pen. And then in the same statement, what's the other pair of complementary angles? Oh boy, 28. Good talk. 4. Yep. And again, guys, I'm not looking for something word for word specific here. Just explain to me how you know they're complementary, except don't use definition of complementary. All right? Anybody want to, anything in particular you want to use? I'll use your reason. I don't care. Anything? You get to throw your reason up on the board. Good talk. This is fun. Yes, Cece? Okay. If two angles are complementary, they add to 90. Fine. If two angles are complementary, they form a right angle. Fine. All right, there's a lot here. Okay, you told me you have complementary angles. ABF and DBC, which are the two I need to prove congruent, they're complementary to the same angle or to congruent angles? Congruent angles. That must mean those two angles are also congruent. So last step, ABF is congruent to DBC. That is our second theorem here today, which says complements of same angle or congruent angles? Oh boy. Complements of congruent angles are congruent. Whew. So your toughest job, are they complementary to the same angle or to congruent angles? And then how did I produce the last two up on the board? I substituted the word what in for complement? Supplement. So go ahead, set this one up, we'll talk. Bless you. All right, so you're doing this proof Monday on the test or quiz. You look at your givens and you see one keyword stick out. What's that keyword? Supplementary. So at least you've narrowed it down to two facts. Next thing you got to figure out to yourself, and don't yell this out, I'm trying to prove angle 1 and 2 congruent. Are 1 and 2, are they supplementary to the same angle, or are they supplementary to congruent angles? That's what you need to figure out right now looking at your paper and your givens. Are 1 and 2 supplementary to the same angle or to two congruent angles? And what's my answer to that question? Same angle. Okay, but before we make this into a two-step proof, you have to make sure you write down that you have what type of angles? Supplementary. Have we done that? Where have we done that? Okay, and if we haven't, if it's not in our givens, we need to write that down on our own. But yes, it's in our givens. Perfect. So this will be a two-step proof. To say angle 1 congruent to angle 2. And we'll have the sheet right in front of us on Monday. So we get the wording right. Supplements, no I, of what type of angles in this case? Same angle. Supplements of the same angle are congruent. This would be a three-step proof if I was not given they were supplementary. I would have to write that in. Questions from you guys before I let you go on your own? Can you please turn to question 5 on your homework tonight? Because there is no diagram and kids always struggle with what the diagram looks like. So I just said, hey, why not just give you the diagram so you don't struggle with it? So there's the diagram for number 5. And that's a T down below here. Can work with the person next to you, behind you, in front of you, but just don't get out of your seat to move anywhere. If you want me to look over your proof, I certainly will if it's right or wrong. If you are stuck, call me over. I'll get you going. I'll give you a push to get you going. All right, but you got plenty of time here to work on these proofs. Also, sorry. Little warning, they're not all complementary supplementary proofs. Maybe I threw an addition, subtraction, halves of equal quantities to keep you on your toes. All right, they are not all complementary supplementary. Let's get after it.